All right. So I'm just, it might take a minute or two for me to get fully set up here. So sorry for that, but I want to make sure we're good here. For that. All right. So it seems like both are working. So we're doing this a little bit differently today than we've done in the past. I'm actually live streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. So whichever platform people prefer, there should be links for both. I'm not sure if that got reset or something, but yeah, we're on. Nope, it's not in the YouTube one. So hold on, I'm just gonna change that for a sec, quickly here. This is the first time I've done this, so it'll take maybe a minute or two to get back up to speed with this. But this is also the first time we've been back on Twitch for a while, so I'm sure a lot of people. I know a lot of people prefer Twitch over YouTube. Some people prefer YouTube over Twitch. Oh, never mind. There it is. It just doesn't want to highlight. So I'll change that. And that should do it. I think. It might just take a second for me to update there. Found a YouTube who playing the mod still. So anyone who's playing from the mod database version, we only have the initial 2.2 release, Michael, for that. We haven't uploaded the patch, so it anything they have would still be from the initial release. Once we get to 2.2.5, we're going to upload a full patch to mod database, but all right, so I'm gonna get this to, where's my display capture? Display capture. There's the window we want. All right. So I've not dealt with two chats before, so forgive me if I am a little bit slower on the chat reading than usual, but hopefully I should get used to that in a minute. But big fan of the mod, who had the idea to have the rebel tanks run over stormtroopers? That's actually a base game thing. That's been in since vanilla. Like, you know, I commented twice to get 2 units named, but they still aren't in the game. If there's anyone who has submitted a unit to the challenge playthrough we're doing, and it's still not on the spreadsheet, if you reply to your original comment, then that'll give me another notification. I'll be able to find it and add it back in. Please do not leave them again on the newer videos, because that makes it a lot harder for me to track. Okay, so I think we're ready to get in here. So what we're going to be working on tonight, we're going to be starting off with Imperial Civil War, doing some bug fixing for 2.2. And then we're going to be moving over to potentially work on Fall of the Republic, depending on how the Imperial Civil War stuff goes. So what we're going to be working on with Imperial Civil War, if you play the Era Progressive Galactic Conquests, there have been some bugs which have come up with the era progression itself, or even in the and/or Aftermath Galactic Conquest or Empires at War before we disabled that, where sometimes certain events won't fire properly, like the eras won't progress properly, Issar doesn't spawn properly, or that kind of thing, or like the Biss unlocks but you don't get Palpatine. And usually what that's caused by is something is crashing within the Lua script. So we're going to be looking at those Lua scripts today. We're going to start with the and/or Aftermath one. So that is called GC Warlords Campaign. You're not giving ICW 2.2. 2.2 is already on the Steam Workshop. Worry, how do you board enemy capital ships or loss of potential executor class? You can't board the SSTs. If a unit is boardable, it'll say so in its description. I think there's actually a bug right now where the Bellator is boardable, but they are not intended to be. So this is what that story script looked like. The problem is that if the if one of the things spawns and one doesn't, I'm gonna make sure. Yeah, so if one of these, so all these events here, they reference a story event from a different XML file, and then it tells it to go to a Lua function. So if we look in data, this one's tied to Warlords, so or Aftermath is the actual name. So these are in here, and so you can see here, right at this top here, story mode events. This is telling it that it needs to look for the events. Universal story start fires the begin GC function. So if you look in the story script, we have an event called Universal Story Start. And that tells this script that it needs to go to the begin GC function, which doesn't exist. But the one that we're really concerned about is determine faction Lua equals find faction. So this is the find faction function, and we need determine faction Lua. So when this happens, which happens right in the first second of the Galactic Conquest, then it goes to here. And this is how we enable and disable different story events. But that's basically how these work. How does the air progression handle the Imperial Remnant being eliminated earlier? That's generally why we've tried to slot in different planets for the Remnant to unlock. So a couple of them, they unlock different stuff. But there's not a fantastic way the game deals with it right now, and that's one of the things we do want to change. But one of the issues actually with the release, which we fixed in the Steam Workshop version, which Saval, if you are subscribed to the old 2.15 version, that is now 2.2. But yeah, so one of the issues that has come up since released is that if a faction is eliminated before an era change, if it's the New Republic, Empire of the Hand, it'll cause a crash, which was an error in 2.15. We had a different way of dealing with it back then, and the new way didn't work, so we had to go back to the old way. Anywho. How did the XP Gamers capture an executive? I don't think he captured it. He might have. If he did, it's a bug. You were not supposed to be able to do that. I don't think they have the boardable tags. There are some New Republic heroes, though. Hey there, Bob. I am not set to... There we go. Hey, Bob. But yeah, so... You had the idea of timed reinforcement from closed systems. So that would be incredibly complicated to do. You'd have to, before a battle starts, know exactly what's at the other place, because you can't reach back to the galactic level from intactical asterisks. So that's iffy at best.
Well, you kind of can. You kind of can.
Yeah, that's generous.
You can. I mean, I did find out that the space unit bit field perception does work. So you can actually detect certain space units that are in galactic from tactical. Really only works for heroes, though, because you can have any number of a given Star Destroyer, for example, in a fleet, so you can't really count them or anything.
Then you have to figure out which planets are actually next to the planet that you're in. So essentially a table with all the planets and which one you'd consider valid for that.
Yeah, it would take a lot of that, or perceptions, or it would be horrible. It would be really horrible.
Yeah. It would be pretty resource intensive, probably fail a lot, and yeah, it would be a mess. So my Reddit playthrough broke because I couldn't most of the galaxy, but so that's what I was talking about earlier, Bennett. The Steam Workshop version should have that fixed for now. But anyways, what we were actually looking at today, rather than giving live tech support for whatever people report, we're looking at why the Lua script crashes, which is a separate thing. So we're looking at the Warlords campaign right now specifically, and these are all the things that happen with the Project Ambition thing. So it needs to know about the Empire player, it needs to know about Harsk, so Zero Command, and then it needs Coruscant. So you can either progress with Isard, or with Pestage dying, with Coruscant being captured, or with the build option. So
first thing I noticed there is, why do we have the P Empire variable when you use find player Empire in the conditional?
Because it changed how it works several times. That is not what's going on here. Because it worked a different way before, and that way didn't work. And I just kept the variable in case we needed it for something else, which we did for a while. But, yeah. So I need to figure out exactly which place it is crashing at. So the first thing it'll do is spawn Isard at whichever starting planet you get. It'll also spawn Implacable, and I think both of those work. Then it'll get rid of Sate Pestage. Then it'll get rid of Harsk. Then it'll check for the Project Ambition heroes. And then it'll break off Zero Command. So we know it's not getting to Zero Command.
It seems to spawn all the other heroes, though. Makati, Tackle, all that stuff spawns.
Yeah, so it's breaking somewhere in here. And I think I want to check if this is...
Okay, I think I know what it is. Most likely. I'm looking at the start planet. If start planet.getOwner equals Empire, then change planet owner and retreat. The problem is that start planet is a local. You can't pass locals as up values in Empire at War Lua. So start planet can't be a local.
Yeah, I need to remove most of the local stuff. A lot of this stuff worked before, and then I tried a bunch of different shit to make it not crash on saving or on loading, which didn't work. So most of this doesn't need to be local anyways. Some of it was local before, and I just need to remember which was... whether any of it needed to be.
Check the git log.
I don't want to, that's boring.
You want to just wildly stab in the dark, huh?
I don't want to revert entirely to the earlier stuff. I know roughly when it stopped working, but...
You can check the line-by-line blame.
Yeah. Thanks, Chips and Dip. Will there ever be a manual release for 2.2? Yes, we are working on... or Sloney's working on that.
Blame
Thanks,
Sloney.
Porto.
Hashtag blame Sloney.
And Mr. Ninja 420, that's the same bug we were talking about with Bennett earlier. So there are issues where if stuff... That's my friends talking about drinking on Facebook. That's nice. Should probably fix that. I don't even have a Facebook window open. Stupid notifications. Oh well. Yeah, so if a faction gets destroyed, this should be fixed on the Steam Workshop version already. If a faction gets destroyed before the air progresses, that's when the game will crash. That's a separate issue than what we're talking about here. And basically, any other bug reports, please do put them on the forums. I'm going to do my best to not address individual bug reports in the stream, because that is not going to be very productive. All right.
So yeah, basically not any variable you're passing to a function, but most variables being passed to functions need to be not local.
All right, so I can get rid of most of these, and I think we're okay.
And then it's time for the debugger. Woo!
Not debugger.
Oh, I see how it is.
It's faster. I don't want to wait the 5 minutes for the debugger to launch when I have a pretty good idea of what's breaking. Debugger's a last resort when I'm about to pound my head into a wall.
I like to use the trigger event though, because that's pretty handy. You can just, if you're trying to debug a story event, you can just trigger it and it'll just go. But in this case, it kind of relies on a bunch of previous stuff, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I've made so many mistakes where I've been like, oh, it triggers fine on its own, but then it doesn't work in situ. So,
what kind of buffs do the different heroes give? So the tier will tell you what the buff is. It's a standardized thing, and that's something that's actually going to be covered in the manual as well. But so Pestage is going on a fun ride to death.
Shuttle en route.
But there are the personality modifiers that increase or decrease bonuses. That's all going to be, the specifics of those buffs are going to be covered in the manual. But basically, tier 1 is the best. That's just Thrawn and Akbar. And then the personality modifiers will change it on top of that. Tier 2, slightly worse. I think like Garm Bel Iblis is in there. Tier 6 is the worst. I think it's 6 instead of 5. Yeah. All right.
Tactical battle imminent.
The thing that says that like hard, easy, whatever in the list, that is okay. So that spawn Dizard, spawn Tridget, got rid of Harsk, and got rid of we got rid of Pestage, technically. So if I do that a different way. But yeah, so I'll talk about that when we get there for a second, while we're loading it. So the difficulty things being asked about here. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna buy Project Ambition, but here, this does not change this. This is just because different setups for different GCs are going to be slightly harder or easier for different factions. So that's the actual difficulty setting. It's kind of like Total War, if you've ever played that, where there are certain faction starts that are just more difficult than others. So this sets up the AI differences, and that's just how relatively difficult the spawn or the starts are. Alright, so we'll just let Izzard ask us what to do. Is there a limit on how many planets you can add to an emergent faction? Technically, no, but in practice, one of the reasons that we've made it so limited is because when the planets flip, the units retreat. So if you have more than 1 or 2, what'll happen is, especially if they're in a cluster, your units, say you had a triangle of planets here, the planets from Abrogado Ray would retreat here. Planets from here would retreat to Kalis. Or the ships from Clay. Yeah. They'd all just go around a circle. They'd start battles with the stuff that got spawned there, and it's annoying as hell. So until we have a better way to group them all up and move them away, which is possible, I'm pretty sure, like, there's ways to do it, but it's kind of tedious, and we haven't done it yet. So for now, we're basically just using how it is for testing purposes, which is also why they're kind of sparse when they do spawn, where it's like 1 or 2 ISDs or something. In the future, we'll make that more complicated. But right now with 2.2, a lot of it was just getting in the functionality and testing that, working that out, and then we can expand on it.
Corey just wanted to release the mod.
People wanted to release the mod.
Wanted to scrub the memory of the previous versions.
Yes. But there is something to the idea of if you stay for so long in development just trying to get everything 100% to what its intended final point is, it's gonna take longer because it takes longer to do the testing. If you start from a simpler version of it and get the feedback on that, and then you take it further, you're gonna get more feedback on how to improve it, and on top of what's broken with it, and you're not digging the mod super far into one direction that you then can't change, because no one likes One Direction anymore. It's not 2006. I don't think they were even born in 2006. I feel like she should have been telling me what to do by now. What's the timer on that?
It's like 200 seconds.
Oh.
So 5 weeks. So it should probably have already happened.
No, sometimes it's delayed after the first. The timer's off. I don't understand why.
Yeah, if timers depend on previous events, you can end up with weird knock-on effects where it all misaligns and gets screwed up.
Even the ones that aren't dependent on previous events, though, there seems to be a buffer before it, and I'm not sure exactly what it's from. There she is.
Constructing unit.
Week 6. Do all the Grand Admirals have? No. Makati and Tackle, I think, are tier 2 or 3. They're definitely worse than Thrawn and Akbar, but I think they might be kind of on par with Garmin. It really depends on what the Admiral was known for. So there are some Grand Admirals that were just like political appointments. Who was it that was really big into, was it Compnor or something? But there was, yeah, if you read any of their bios, a lot of the Grand Admirals were just really weird people.
Palp's best buddies.
Zarin was good, but then he decided to do his own thing. Tackle was alright. I think there was like, of the, half of them were like good military commanders, the other half were just devotees of Palpatine. What modding tool do you use for the GC campaign? I've been making custom maps for skirmish on a Mr. So typically it's just XML stuff. We have an internal tool that is sort of half-made that lets us pick which planets are in and edit trade routes, which is some of the more tedious stuff, but then you still do have to do the rest of the work in XML. So it's all XML. Are all 12 in the mod, or am I stupid? Ishmael Raz, right. No, some actually died at Endor, some died shortly after. We tried to put in all the relevant ones, and there's some more that we want to put in when we get more relevant story events. Like Teshik, I think, and Grunger. We weren't there yet, but likely will be. Some of the codes there as well for, I think Grunger and Peta have code, aren't used anywhere. Ones who killed each other over Corellia? Tralis? Alright. Such a long build time. I should have just reduced that beforehand. Now we're 70% in. I figured it would be a good chance to get back onto the chat too, so.
Yeah, that's fair. I tend to, or at least I should, write there's like the hyper game constants, which is Petroglyph's testing version of game constants. I want to basically make something like that for myself, and then you just copy and just rename it so that it has like 20 times production speed and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I've got the batch files with FOTR. I can probably just use the same thing.
Create a testing build basically, which just runs everything really fast.
All right, so the main thing is getting rid of the product ambition dummy. It all applies just slowly enough that you can kind of see when it happens. So this is actually Isard. The dummy's gone. We have all the heroes. Harsk is gone. Zero Command is still part of our territory. Usually it's a thing that fired properly last, or seemed to fire properly last. Something crashed in there. Let's get out of there. And so this fired, these didn't. Is this our Kaelist is the name of the planet. This worked before, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing it happen in one of your playthroughs, I think.
So it got rid of Project Ambition. What if I tell it not to do that? Smil conquests. I'm gonna make that all fire much earlier. Project Ambition. I think if I just set this to 10, it's all based on that.
You're currently showing your splash screen, by the way.
Yeah. I don't know why the display capture doesn't update. OBS isn't the best.
But it's free!
Yay, I'm cheap. Patreon.com/. Alright. Will this refresh it? It will not. What a lovely program.
It tries.
Here we go. Tried Streamlabs OBS? I have not. The only thing to be fair, I'm complaining, but the only thing I ever really have problem with it is display capture on this monitor. So it's, I shouldn't complain. Okay, well that's what I wanted to change there. I don't think this will do anything, but it will at least confirm that the problem isn't in this function. And that's all that matters. Well, the other thing is that these shouldn't be here. Let's just give them 2 Shockwave Star Destroyers. Why not?
Yeah, it might actually be a problem with spawning the buildings.
Well, that definitely caused a problem before. It's just, I could swear that, unless someone re-added those later. But I wasn't sure if it would still fire for the first planet or not. But I guess I'll put that up. You still need to be a comment. 10. Alright. That should do it. When it comes time for the era change from Thrawn to Palpatine, does it say something about Rook killing him? Yeah. Well, I don't think the actual text event is there, but that's what the intention is. That if it's the timed era change between Thrawn and Palpatine, Rook is the one killing Thrawn. I actually think in most cases the timed era events are the most lore friendly. Because generally it was the leaders getting themselves killed.
Or being assassinated, or doing other stupid shit.
That's the Imperial way. Because Isar did Project Ambition on her own, pretty much. I guess the Coruscant capture one is fairly lore friendly for her. I got the timer at 20 and 10.
Constructing unit.
I didn't change that.
Cancelled.
Well, let's try the Pestage way.
Shuttle
For some reason, over the space of like 11 days. Variables in that script were localized 3 times. The same variables. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
Tactical battle
Hey,
imminent.
Director. Thanks for the bits. Glad to catch your streams. This is a bit difficult with my current academic pursuits. Would you please be able to tell me where I could find a spreadsheet with the units for the community challenge? So if you look in the description for any of the videos, in the community chat, like any of the episodes, it will. There's a link called View the Consortium Fleet or just the Consortium Fleet, and that link, it's a bit.ly link, it takes you to the spreadsheet. Alright, so we got Isard Implacable, we got rid of Arsk. We did not change the planets though.
Is it possibly something wrong with the change planet owner and retreat function?
It usually is. But that hasn't changed quite some time, I don't think. Alright, so, well, first off, I want to go... And... where's Regicide Objects? There we are. Project Ambition Dummy. Build time. Just do 10 seconds. We can register what's actually going on there. And... okay, this fires. This was firing. So it's not spawning Hearth, or not getting rid of Hearth that crashes it. I don't know if it's not making it through to the end of this, is the problem. So... I don't know if that did anything. Let's try again. Fox has not touched that function in ages. There you go. I think the last time it changed was when I may have added a test valid function somewhere. That was months ago. Because that was when I was figuring out that the neutral planets were messing with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only change made even slightly recently was changing the super to super capital in one of the tags.
So what you're saying is it's your fault.
I mean,
Clearly.
except that's the is valid category function, which I don't believe is used in any of the. Technically, it is used, so I guess it's possible it's my fault, but that would be fun.
Vehicle in production.
I'm just testing it in this one first, because this is the most isolated switch control function. Ox, you can blame Bob from the call. And we can maybe blame you. We can all be blamed. You can get blamed. Ah. 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 Ah.
It's okay, you can cry now.
Okay, so that didn't work. That's all good. I'm gonna do my original thing. Toggle that. Because it seems like in the main one, in the main Galactic Conquest, it's Q-Trick that messes it up. People typically have complained about it going into Era 3. So it seems like it You're not supposed to cure your sleep schedule, Box. It's not the life we chose.
You'll just make Corey feel bad.
Is that what you want, Box? Is this because I lost that game for you still? We need to work past that.
Building under construction. Building cancelled.
Constructing unit. Vehicle in production.
And yes, folks, this is the thrilling reality of modding.
Unit.
Doing the same thing again and again. It's like being insane. You do the same thing again and again and expect a different result.
Exactly. And I'm actually doing this in the most viewable way possible. So there are easier ways to do some of this, but they're less understandable generally. Alright, so...
Yeah, let's go running debug messages. Everyone can sit and watch a load screen for 5 minutes.
So it's not the function I just commented out, which is what got rid of the thing. So that's good. Let's see if it's if it doesn't like K-list. It's not a K-list celebrity. I'm not proud of myself. I've been through a lot, okay?
I'm just calm.
No, I'm not running Space Run Galaxy. Thank you, Steam. He is neither evil nor Bob.
It's a shock, I know.
Unexpected person. The art streams are going to be a lot more fun.
Yeah, that's a lot more watchable, definitely.
It's almost like art is a more visual medium.
Well, there are 27 people watching us go around circles, so, you know.
That's just YouTube.
Someone's bored
actually
today.
50 total.
Good God.
Unit in production.
Alright, spawned everything. K-list isn't supposed to swap. Abrigado isn't supposed to swap. Okay. So what I think we will do...
Do we want to try just not changing the planet and just spawn the units?
Yeah.
And it'll just create a space battle. See if the units spawn, because that'll tell us if it's the units.
I don't think it'll
or the
create a
planet.
space battle. It'll create the
They'll
EAW
just appear.
peaceful coexistence.
And then we'll probably find out that, in fact, it was my fault for adding the super capital tag. I don't know why that would do it, because it's a valid category tag. But
whenever you're wondering why it would do it, because EAW.
I know.
That's how it is.
And so we ask ourselves why.
No people can skirmish together and do a GC against each other. Can two people team up to do a GC against the same? No. So you can't do co-op Galactic Conquest. Honestly, multiplayer Galactic Conquest and Empire at War is not... You lack some of the tools that you have for single-player modding, which makes it difficult to do anything in the first place. Or anything majorly interesting, at least.
Yeah, it'd pretty much have to be like single-era lock tech. Empire v Rebels would be like the... Maybe you can do some extra faction stuff, like Stars Align might work, but anything with more than 2 factions starts to break because the other factions have to be AI and they have to be non-playable and they die really easily. So you're auto-resolving your way across the galaxy as fast as possible. It's not that exciting.
Well, glad you're enjoying it, Amber. Will the Imperial AI ever choose to advance itself in tech as well they go through the project ambition instead of waiting for the timer? I don't know. Did you include the air change stuff in the
unit.
large
No,
budget
I left
plans?
that. I left that out completely because I didn't think it was reasonable. Like mostly because a lot of it is in testing and kind of easily broken.
Yeah.
Didn't particularly feel like making the AI break the game. I let the player do that instead.
Generally, I think we'd rather leave the era in the hands of the player, and then if the AI decides to stay in it for too long, yep, that's spawning. So yeah.
So it is my fault.
It is.
Awesome.
We're gonna say it is potentially your fault, but we could probably make it so that under certain conditions the AI chooses to do it, but then we'd have to figure out like what conditions would we want to make the AI do that, and that feels kind of more artificial anyways. So I don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be something like Pestage loses a load of territory. Basically, exactly what it would be what happened in canon, as in if they start to get pushed back to Coruscant, Izzard takes over, and then if Coruscant is lost, all that kind of thing would have to be that kind of stuff.
It may not be your fault.
Oh, thank God.
Where's the? Are you serious?
You got rid of the require.
Don't. I don't know who got rid of the require. Let's
okay, that's it. I'm going to the blame. I'm going to the blame.
No,
right
Bob.
now.
No, we don't need to find out. At the end of the day, for all the team, does it really matter who broke it?
I say yes.
The YouTube stream has the YouTube stream gone down?
It's fallen over a little bit. I wouldn't say it's gone down. It's just kind of gone all over the place.
It's always Bob's fault. It's always Bob's fault. P.
Thanks, Fiddy.
Haha, yes, it was. It was Corey.
Hey, we don't know that.
I have the commit right here.
We don't know that.
Thrawn's Revenge committed 26 days ago. I have a nice minus line next to require change owner utilities.
I got hacked. All right. Well, this doesn't help me for the other stuff. Oh, actually, no. The require does. So the local does with the other stuff. So.
The good news is you can also get rid of the PG base and PG state machine requires because those are already required by change owner utilities. So I find that overlapping those requires, while it shouldn't cause problems, could pretend I feel like there's some memory bloat that can happen there. The way that, especially in the save game, from what I've seen, whenever you require a lure, that lure is literally blocked on the top when it's saved. They just put the entire lure file into the top header of the lure file that's being saved. So every lure file gets the library saved into it somehow.
Nice.
The lure is like the least deduplicated part.
That wasn't my internet, Hex. It was, I'm using Restream.io for this to go to both Twitch and YouTube, and it was just YouTube that went down there. So I think that was probably on YouTube's end. Because Twitch, I think, was up the whole time.
Yeah, Twitch looks fine.
Do you, Pox, Rio, Bob, and Bob know the question I had about making a structure unbuildable on a planet? I'm pretty sure you just have to do required planets and then leave out that one.
Yeah, that's pretty much your option. You either have required planets for the structure, except the one you don't want it on, or you have a lot of special production tags, depending on how big the GC is.
I think YouTube went down again. Twitch is still going, though. Sorry for the typing Twitch, but our YouTube brethren are being left in the dark here. Anywho.
Regarding the timed transition, do we want to make that like the canon date?
I thought about doing that, but then you end up with 200 weeks with some stuff, and then Dala to Pelion, you get probably like 80 seconds in game time.
Man, some of that was a whirlwind, huh?
Hey, wait a minute. Did I not see? Oh, never mind. God damn it, it's my fault.
Tactical battle imminent.
But yeah, this is the thing I was talking about earlier. I don't know if I forget who asked the question, but with more planets for the immersion factions, so you can see that my units from Kalis, the nearest thing for it to retreat to, because Abrigado gets switched afterwards. It still thinks Abrigado is our planet, so it'll retreat from Kalis to Abrigado, and it'll do that in a line. So you just get one planet over.
I feel like the way to solve that would probably just be to use the way that Pox does, single unit retreat and boarding and stuff.
Just get rid of it all and spawn it somewhere else.
After some time, yeah. That's probably the safest way to do it. Because even if you do something like find the nearest planet, it'll be a horrible mess. Like, of perceptual equations, all one way or the other.
All right, so that works. The reason we didn't do that basically right away is because we need a way to allow for hero events within that, and it would be a lot of extra making sure we tell the game, like, no, they didn't actually die, calm down. Okay, so there's double Harsk now, but that is intentional. That was what we were testing, so we can safely move on. The next one we need to check is full progressive. So base and state machine we can get rid of. What are the reasons discussed?
I do feel slightly smug now.
Well, you shouldn't. Okay, this is a team game, Bob. I don't know how you handle it over there at PR when it's just you, but we support each other.
I have long
here.
arguments with myself.
We support each other. And by that I mean Corey's always right. We defer to him in all things. I wonder if it's just YouTube in general being terrible, or if this is Restream being terrible. Oh well. We'll treat that as a YouTube advertisement for the Twitch channel for now, I guess. Alright, so let's check out what's going on here. We do have change owner utilities, which we now know to check for right away. So that's not going to be the problem.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
I do know that the Q-Trick thing was causing issues before. The 5 even. Let's get rid of as many locals as we can. I don't want to control H. Do I want to control H? That's risky.
I mean, unless you started naming variables with the word local in, you're probably pretty safe.
It didn't, and I can also just do local space, but... Local space with nothing. Replace all. I feel like there was something that was supposed to be local, but it doesn't matter because I don't care. So we'll have to see...
We'll soon find out when it crashes.
That's an accurate, true fact. What I do want to change before we go in on that, though... I have seen that Pox, but for some reason, those Atom... I've started getting even more errors in Atom than I was before, and it was frustrating. I need to fix my installation of that. Okay, so my thing on YouTube says an error has occurred, but it says there's 8 people watching now. I don't know if that's just like people DVRing back through, but if there's anyone who is watching on YouTube right now. Oh, now it's back. Never mind. Hold on. I'll see if I can... Fine.
So the interesting thing I'm noticing about the Citric, the Qtric function, the state machine thing, is that it's the only one which doesn't have locals in it.
Yeah, but it was causing issues before then. That might be why
Right.
it doesn't have locals. This is Adam. The header's not going to work right now, but... Yeah, that's the reason I stopped using it as much, Pox. It just takes so long for it to launch for me compared to Notepad.
Which is weird because it somehow looks like it has less features. But, I mean, presumably it has more or different features.
But anywho, well, now that we've changed all those locals, let's see. Yeah, it's only looking for Qtric, so this is why. No, it's not. The Hardskiz Warlords. Because we were originally going to do Qtric as 0 command, so they were... Well, we were originally going to make Qtric its own faction, but then we found the limit. But... It's basically like the Discord of editors. Empire at War channel, what happened? I don't know. What did happen? No tag in planets.xml that says anything about structures that aren't buildable on the planet. Nope. That's all determined by structure. You can basically tell it which it is buildable on, and then you just gotta put up with it. All right.
Yeah, and don't have too many planets because you might overflow the character limit with the XML tag.
Yeah. And then it'll crash on startup, and you'll want to cry. And then CAD will tell you why it's crashing on startup. It'll make your life better. Not much better, but... So I want to make the talks happen earlier, because I want to test that right away. TW full. Okay. Art of War. And then we know that event's going to fire for the PA earlier. So recruit. Lewis. So Vulcan, Lewis scripting would be like the, I guess, language you're working in. This is just the text editor you're using to do it. So Notepad++, Atom, whatever. It doesn't really change what you're doing. It's just changing the tools available to you to do it. Like, Atom will tell you where stuff is broken. Whereas Notepad, generally, it'll tell you if you're like missing a tag somewhere, and it'll just do it by having different colored stuff, but that's about it. Okay, so pestage. Actually, you know what? I'll do this the voluntary way. I'm gonna do all the voluntary way all the way through here. There's a mistake in the name of the requested hero. So, when I do the heroes, I'm going to be going back through the patron posts anyways. So I generally catch those when I'm coding them in. There are probably a few typos, but if there's an issue when they're actually in game, people can just tell me that their thing's messed up, and I'll either notice while I'm doing it or I'll fix it then. It's not a huge deal. Oh, sorry, I read that as better than Lua scripting, not for. My mistake. Alright. This one we're gonna have to wait till week 6. Actually, I'll do the involuntary, because we already have...
Shuttle en route.
I'll need to change the build times for everything else.
I don't know. I mean, throwing Pistache away like this seems pretty decided to me. I mean,
He'll get over it. Okay, so our ATSTs have decided to go covert.
On my way.
oh hey, look, Callist worked.
Yeah. It's almost like it had all the necessary required scripts. Alright, so we know that works now.
The hard part is going to be finding a fleet you can throw Wizard away with.
Yeah.
Just going to go on a mild rampage for a while until you find something bad enough.
What are you doing for their public
Zinj.
modding? That'll be after I'm satisfied that we've made enough progress with the air change stuff.
Zin should generally stick about on Dathomir, I think, because that's where the Rancor base is.
Tactical battle imminent.
Either that or Sereno. Whatever's marked as the capital in the GC file is where he should stick around mostly, when he's not killing people.
Enemy forces ahead.
Alright. This fleet, likely not going to do it, but there's a lot of Raptors, so maybe.
Just got to point directly away from the enemy, which should be very easy for a Superstar Destroyer to do.
She just tried to flip through.
Could run some laps through those asteroids.
Watch for enemy ships. Nowhere to go.
That's the dream. Okay.
Losing control. We're being targeted.
I still need to fix the field of view thing with what to disappearing.
Closing on target. Pursuing.
Yeah, there's a clipping value in the camera. I'll do it. Maybe you could do that this stream. Because you can actually do it right now, because the tactical camera updates immediately upon edit. It's like one of the 3 things in the game that does that properly. It'll actually
The best part about Empire at War, which I feel like is an underreported story, is the GUI dialogues updating in game.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Shield's almost gone.
That was like the only way I could really get the tech tree looking good in Phoenix Rising.
Yeah.
I'm on this one. He's about to
They're
be
too
So many
together.
arrows to draw.
No, it's all one model.
under control.
With some of the fixes being worked on now, makes way to the Steam Workshop build. Yeah, so the main thing that we want to work on for the 2.2.5 build, or on our way to the 2.2.5 build, is the air change stuff and documentation. So air change stuff is obviously what we're working on right now, and then as little bits of that get fixed, they'll be posted in like basically 3 different parts of the Steam Workshop. Once we're done all of it, then we're going to put it on mod database. The workshop is generally where we put stuff to make sure it's working before putting it anywhere else. Because if something goes horribly wrong with it, we can just take it out right away. Go back to the older version. Okay, so I think we're making it. Yeah, if we retreat, it would work.
But where's the fun in that?
Yeah, I wanna give these guys the satisfaction. We got Vehement. Even this VSD is gonna live.
I like how the AI has kind of accidentally gone into the blind spots of the hard points.
Top tier tactical knowledge is what that is actually.
I think it's mostly just that their weapons aren't long enough range if they don't go right on top of it.
Yeah. Because the SSDs are super low. Which was mostly to make it get around the asteroid objects a little bit better, but we can just make them not care about that.
I think that will help a lot.
Like in Star Wars Episode 5, when Vader didn't care about those asteroids.
Just like that.
Oh my god, asteroids.
That reminds me, we really need to get rid of a lot of the destructible asteroids. Recode the prop, because having them be special structures and often hostile is really bad for the AI. Even though I've told them not to concentrate on them, sometimes they'll just go like yep, I'm just throwing my plasma away.
Yeah, so AOK Squid, that should update automatically. So Thrawn, everything fired for him. And
Of course.
Good work, Corey.
what did I do?
You made it work.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
This
that
already
hasn't
worked. Well, I
fixed it.
did make
Gets
it
to work.
I did make it work.
Stop fucking
the
up.
first time. I'm just trying to figure
Oh,
out which situations in which it doesn't work.
now I'm just confused. I don't know whether to compliment or like denigrate you.
Always compliment, never denigrate. That's what friends are for.
Damn straight.
We've located the enemy. Thrawn reporting.
Alright, Granddad Myrtle Thrawn.
Star Destroyer standing by.
Admiral Thrawn reporting. Of course.
Right, the Nebulon bee swarm is on its way.
If you insist. Indeed, I knew you would say that. If you deem it logical. My scopes are jammed. Where are the others? Unable to shake them. Our primary engine system is down.
Here we go.
Tractor beam deactivated. Our launch bay is destroyed. We've lost our turbo lasers.
Calculating jump to light speed.
Thank you, Zinj. Now let's see if Q-Trick splits off properly. It is not.
Dun dun dun.
What a time to be alive. The patch map editors still have issues with deleting the MTT files. I haven't had an issue with that recently.
It's happened to me deleting TGA files, which is obnoxious because of the way that I put Phoenix Rising together. So I've just not used it. I'm probably going to use it when I do a big pass on maps because it actually, the old map editor for me corrupts the map header so that the map file name ends up with some weird messed up characters in it, whereas the new one does not do that. So I'll probably have to do some cleanup and sort that out at some point. It mostly just means that the skirmish space and land maps get weird names, which nobody really cares about. So, you know, whatever. Sorry, X.
What, the map names specifically?
Yeah, the map names get corrupted with weird characters, as though the basically isn't saving them properly for some reason.
No, I mean the no
Which
one
again,
caring
really
about it part.
Oh yeah, because I mean it's just in skirmish that it really has any impact.
This is not the
Isn't
correct... See, it
is the
works
event
for the
not even
other...
triggering?
Not sure.
Should
I
we
want to
trigger
revert
cancel
the other
spawn?
stuff I've done first. But... Oh well. Fox has just fallen in love. Even though he theoretically went to bed an hour ago.
He's fixing his sleep schedule by falling in love with Sublime Text.
All right, so this I should just revert.
Right, I remember why I didn't get Sublime Text is because it's proprietary. For $80. I don't like editing text that much.
Why is this the biggest window in the world? There we go. All right, these are all the Fall of the Republic changes. That's not what I want to change, though. I don't care about Fall of the Republic
So many
right now.
deletions.
That's basically all Fall of the Republic is right now.
You heard that here first, folks. Fall of the Republic is basically ICW minus.
It's deleted ICW. ICW left.
That would be the ultimate troll. We uploaded it to the Steam Workshop and just wipe ICW from everyone's computers.
Bring the Thrawn
You could
campaign.
actually do that. Is the worst
Not
part.
really.
You could actually do that.
Do who what now?
Just upload to the workshop and an empty file and just wipe out the mods for everyone.
Yeah.
And be like, yep, Fall of the Republic.
So next year is April Fool's joke, right?
Ooh.
What was this year's April Fool's joke?
I don't know. I have no idea.
During the Thrawn campaign, was Thrawn in control of the Empire and Izzard? So Izzard, everyone thought Izzard was dead, and then she showed back up in the Kutric hegemony after Thrawn died. So she was around, but she was presumed dead. The Kutric hegemony during the Thrawn campaign was aligned with Thrawn, which is why we don't have them break off earlier. I could actually probably do that, Jamesbury. Maybe I will. But will the Fall of the Republic have Malevolence and all the Jedi Generals? It will not have all of the Jedi Generals. There will be some Jedi heroes. Malevolence won't be there. But I was thinking about doing an April Fool's joke this year. I don't remember if we did anything or not, though.
I think it did have some Jedi involved.
Fall of the Republic? Yeah, it did. Okay, these are the changes we wanted. Not the changes we deserve. So, get rid of GitHub. Alright. That's done. This is done. Right, so is something else not working? This is fine. We know this is fine now. All that stuff spawned. Well, I kind of wanted to see what the voluntaries looked like. So, this one isn't used. Regicide Thrawn. This one is used. I didn't revert that, right? I don't think I did. Just want to check before we're in game, and then nope. What's Revan's Revenge? Is that some kind of ointment?
You know, I'm working on the Battle Dragon's new Death Clone right now. I don't know if that's actually any more interesting than you coding, to be honest.
Thanks for saying that on stream.
No worries.
The people need to know, apparently. You heard it here first, folks. Alright. Actually, I think art streams are probably more interesting. I don't know if you want to count Death Clones as art, though.
I don't know.
I mean, they've got animation. You get to use the cut tool a lot. It's fun.
It just gets tedious with all the visibility tracks.
Yeah, that's probably pretty annoying.
Will you continue your Modding 101 series? Yeah, that's definitely going to continue. But it's just been a time thing recently for me. And how much of my life I want to spend in Empire at War is another. I think the general consensus right now is I think that precursors are better. We could check the spreadsheet, but I don't have... Even that, it's a little bit subjective.
I mean, yeah, it's basically just the raw stats of the ship, assuming every single weapon is firing simultaneously. Which is somewhat more likely on the Precursor than the Victory, because the Precursor has those along the dorsal section. I always mix up ventral and dorsal, I don't know why.
Because you're just all upside down or something. I don't know. It's a question only Bob can answer for Bob.
Yeah, so for reference, the Victory 1 is about...
in production. Unit in production. Constructing unit.
257. It's got about 60% more DPS. So that's a pretty big deal. The Victory 2 has about 50% more DPS. And the Crimson Victory has nearly double the DPS of a Precursor.
Well, guys, happy coding.
Thank you. Unit. Happy death cloning.
I am taking off, so no more death for me.
Oh.
Sorry.
That's not very productive of you.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Put you back in the
basement. Like I have finals next week or something.
That's not important.
Not at all. Not even one bit. Adios, guys.
Yeah.
See ya.
Alright, K-List happened. Thrawn's ability left.
The Crimson Victory is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
DPS on it is maybe... It's funny because it's not like... it's not up in like the ISD levels, but it's getting there.
Selling off all the Empire's assets.
It's basically by the numbers, according to our little combat, the way we determine combat power. It's only slightly worse than a torpedo sphere.
Yeah, but the torpedo sphere's bonuses, like the damage modifiers that it has against frigates, are kind of garbage.
Oh yeah. The way we're currently calculating this stuff is not really very accurate. It's good enough for a first pass. And it's better than the previous arbitrary, let's say, oh, the SSD is 45,000 combat power, that kind of thing.
Well, I wanted to apply the same system from that, but I lost that dartboard, so I can't. Right. We are almost able to afford Palpatine. There we go.
Constructing unit.
Yeah, I'll probably... I don't know if I'll stream these from... I might record it, or I'll do one of the two, but... I need to get back into... I think my max copy expired, so I need to figure that out before I can...
Planetary control achieved.
Okay, so that happened... That
I mean, you can always use Blender.
I will never... Never in my life use Blender to model anything.
Unit
for the exporting.
No, not worth it.
It's totally worth it.
I believe I did, Sam. Okay, Jax. Jax has such a funny little group of heroes.
He's got his little council of dudes.
What a special little guy. Alright, Dala.
Constructing unit.
So far, all the voluntary ones have worked.
Oh, that's good. That's a good sign.
That was always the case, though.
Oh, okay. That's less exciting. Is it killing off Dala that's not working right now?
There are some of the... I'm not sure if it's another event aside from the actual air changes, that just because it's in the same script is causing the issue, or if the...
Constructing unit.
Specifically some of the leader deaths, like Thrawn's Q-Trick stuff, I know causes an issue.
Yeah, and I guess once that breaks, it can just break the rest of the script. Clearly, we need to compartmentalize everything. Have a script for every single event.
I thought of not every single event, but I did actually think about trying to break it off like that. But it's not.
It was go a big. the scripts going out of sync. I feel is a pretty high risk there.
Yeah. Even just like opening and closing different plots and then having the script do one thing and then exit. So stuff like what's it called? The Greater Maldrude's hero is from like the Kashyyyk plot or all the Zinj stuff. Just have that in its own story plot, have it load its Lua script when that happens, shut it down afterwards, and then you're good. then it's not breaking other stuff and nothing's breaking it. But I'd rather just get everything working properly rather than doing that. But
it seems like a band-aid, really. Though I'm sure Pox would argue it's good programming, modularity, and so on.
The thing is with Empire, if we could get it to, I guess we actually could, because you can load the plot separately, right? So then it would load the script when that happens, and then it would just close. I think I'd rather do that, actually, because then we can just plug that into whichever GCs we want, rather than having it coded in like.
I would strongly also. It might also be a good idea to have them start deactivated, then activate the plots from separate events, just to keep
it's
things
not running
safer
the whole time.
Yeah, and then you can deactivate the plot as well, and bam, job done. All self-contained and stuff.
What is the next episode of the Single Planet Star? Those are going to be Monday and Tuesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So every day except Sunday and Wednesday. So it'll be an episode tomorrow.
I've been pretty happy about the hostile spawns in that. The fleets have been like nice, fun little fleets of like, a couple of corvettes, a couple of frigates.
Yeah, it's been a decent phalanx.
I'm kind of disappointed that that we didn't get the Starfighter spawns in for all of it, because that endurance would have been a lot scarier, but oh well.
Is there any ADA on the Yavitha stream or playthrough now that 2.2 is out? The problem there has been that the Yavitha have kind of ruined our lives for a few weeks. So we had to patch them out of the Steam Workshop version, and we were going to be patching them out of the mod database version, because we cannot, for the life of us, figure out why they are breaking. There's nothing to about them.
Lives.
But yeah, so all the voluntary ones worked. I wonder if I do... I need to make a flowchart for this. That's more accessible.
Have fun.
Flowcharts make the world go round. Alright, well, I think we'll leave that there. I think that's good. We fixed the one thing, and we have a rough idea of what's going on elsewhere.
Hooray!
For the other stuff... Do I want to go into Fall of the Republic right now? Maybe. That's just going to be more deleting.
Not the most inspiring thing.
That is literally delete something, see if the game still launches, exit, delete some more, see if the game still launches, exit, delete some more, see if the game still launches. But
oh boy, I can't wait to see the asserts when launching the Fall of the Republic version.
It's cleaner, actually.
That's good. I mean, there's less stuff to load, so it'll probably load way faster in the debugger. Because there's going to be, 2 whole units aside? That's the plan, right? Just the Venator and the Acclamator versus the Providence and the Munificent, and I think that covers the Clone Wars.
I mean, you can balance it around that. We know that's very possible. This is what I want. Okay, so this is how we change between Fall of the Republic and ICW. So we have these folders. These are all the files that are common to each one. So stuff like planets, trade routes, we don't have to do in different places. All the projectiles are in the same place. Game constants is the same for now. That's going to have to split off later. But you have this folder, which is the ICW folder, which has all the ICW specific content in it. And you have the Fall of the Republic folder, which is this folder, which is where all the Fall of the Republic specific stuff is going. And then...
I'm not sure that's actually showing on stream. Currently getting a nice view of the regicide objects XML.
It's showing on OBS. Oh. I hate OBS. Why is it doing this to me?
It's fine. Your excited explanation for your brand new feature that is only really relevant to us internal developers. It was going down pretty well, I thought.
Well, It's a great one. Okay. Will OBS behave now?
Go to sleep, Pox.
Pox doesn't like this. Okay. Anywho. ICW. Shared folder. Everything. ICW itself. Folder Republic. And then Hacky Batch file. There's one to change Folder Republic to ICW. There's one to change ICW to Folder Republic. You run that. Then you run the mod. Pox is going to bed, Scar, so. Show us a preview of the Republic planets. Well, there's not really much to preview. It's mostly just stripping out all the ICW stuff right now. And then adding in all the Republic stuff. Once there's actually stuff to preview, then I'll do videos on it, but the customary ICW explosion, all those Clone Wars era Mon Calamari ships, but look at the Galactic Conquest, there's only the one. And you only have the Confederacy and the CIS, and the Republic rather, not the Confederacy and the CIS, that's already a thing. You can go in game and see the very quickly chosen,
construction options available.
Very pastel colors. It's really just the Thrawn. The Thrawn campaign was the only one I left in, because it's an easy testing ground until we actually get GCs done.
Because Sloaney needs to add more planets, right?
Sloaney does need to add more planets. Which he is always fond of hearing. But yeah, that's what Fall of the Republic currently looks like.
Icons and everything.
Yeah. I've been really putting in the work the last few days. That is something people do.
On the bright side, I don't think I really need to write any more specific AI for them.
Not yet.
So that's nice.
We'll talk.
I mean, I don't think there's anything super specific about the way that the CIS and Republic worked in the war, aside from the CIS mostly coming in from the Outer Rim. In terms of making the AI spam stuff more as the CIS, perhaps the droids probably just being cheaper would help with that. So what I'm saying is, I don't need to do anything, and it'll be lovely. Maybe I can work on that other mod that I hear is really good.
Imperial Civil War? Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
Look at all the shared space triangles I get to get rid of. Oh, gotta leave that. Okay,
do you really have to leave the Star Destroyer, though, or is that just taunting people?
It'll be in some places. Like the code. Gladiator may come back at some point, but for now it can leave. Oh wait, why was the Victory's VS or the Victory's Death Clone above? That's weird. Who did that?
I couldn't possibly say.
Just bad.
But I could check the blame.
No, I think that was done
before the upload.
Before Git was a thing for us.
No, I can tell. There's clearly a lot of stuff that was done before Git was a thing.
I think the VSD code is from right when the mod started.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
No, this galaxy. TR is capable of many things, but it's not capable of spaceflight. I almost deleted the Venator. No, I didn't almost delete the Venator. What the... Why is that above it, too?
Yes, I was very impressed by the organizational makeup of the ICW files when I first joined. Very impressed.
You
They're
just
so
don't
clean
like
and
that they're in
tidy.
different. I like the way they're in different files. You want everything to be its own file. That's I hate that. Awful. The way Forces of Corruption had those things organized was just the worst.
I mean, I don't really mind having them all in one file that much these days. My main issue is that individually the ships, like the XML entries, are not as not as clean as they could be. They've got cleaner, as people have done more copy pasting.
Dreadnought can stay, actually. Katana Dreadnought, actually that can stay too. Spoiler alert. Yeah, this is basically how we're turning ICW into Fall of the Republic. Deleting stuff. Then moving stuff, then adding stuff.
Well, I'm going to leave you to your exciting deletion campaign while I go make a carrot cake. So
I am going to be ending the stream within about 5 minutes. Now that people have seen.
Oh, cool!
How that
So I'm not
works.
even missing anything.
So I'm going to leave it there for now. So thanks for coming out, everyone. Twitch is back as part of the channel. We found out it was Bob's fault that the Andor Aftermath stuff wasn't working. You guys got a nice look into the mess that currently is Fall of the Republic. It won't be a mess when you play it, and that's the goal. Yeah, so thanks for coming, everyone. We will be doing the Monday night. It wasn't Bob's fault. I will throw that in there for anyone who, for whatever reason, decides to hold that against him. But I don't know. I don't know who we established. Whose fault it was, but that's not important. Thanks again for coming, everyone. We will be back doing Monday Night Modding every week, or mostly every week, and we'll probably do a lot more art in the upcoming weeks rather than always doing code like this, which will probably be more interesting. But yeah, so see you next time, everyone.
Goodbye.